Hello, everybody. Um, Day three, and today Ryan Fasan, the tile guru, is going to look at design trends specifically for the sort of XXL slab worktop market, but also a general introduction to what's driving the porcelain market worldwide, I think.
Yeah, for more or less. I also kind of, I mean, there's a bit of a intersection between the large format slab and the transition from indoor to outdoor spaces. So I'm kind of pairing both of those together because the two of those things really are what's driving a lot of growth and market share in the ceramic industry right now. And I think it speaks to a lot of the trends that are going on. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about the macro trends, and you can't talk about trends in any industry and design without talking about sustainability and how the product and the solutions that the product provides add into the sustainable message and the sustainable aspects of the buildings that we're creating. I love this quote by Pope John Paul II that says that we're never ever going to solve this ecological situation until we take a critical look at our lifestyle. And I think we're finally turning the corner and actually doing that today, where for all of our existence as a species, basically every time humankind put foot to earth, the sort of connotation and definition of our footprint on this planet has always been a negative connotation. We've always made things just a little bit worse every time we come in contact with something new. And I think that there's a real mental shift in terms of product development, certainly in this industry, and we're really kind of leading the charge and wanting to make humankind's footprint on the planet a net positive rather than a detractor in the natural world. And where I'm seeing this sort of mental shift is all across the board. When I do trend research, I really look at every industry outside of ceramics and architecture and design, and you start to see some commonality, and these common threads are what comes into trends in architecture. And we started to see this keyword regenerative come into play in everything from tourism to agriculture to the tech industry. We're seeing all of these new startups coming. You look at all the startups that are happening right now in the world of tech, almost all of them are sustainably driven. Almost all of them are really trying to do better for the world before they figure out how to make profit from it. We're seeing that in entertainment, in Netflix documentaries, and things like that as well. One of the real mental shifts that's happening in business and in our personal lives is we're starting to realize just how important transparency is. The through line here is that business models and thought processes are shifting from me to us. And we're really looking at, rather than a profit first business model, we're looking at a like the Hippocratic Oath, we're really first looking to do no harm and actually do some good. And then we'll figure out how to make profits from it. The kind of simple way to put that is that if there's nothing to hide, transparency becomes easy, and we're starting to realize that in our businesses. And I think that is the platform that ceramics really can lead the charge in, because trust for consumers today is becoming the most valuable commodity. We used to say for the longest time, as we had this productivity infatuation, we used to say that time was the most valuable commodity. And now in 2020s, in the 21st century, trust is becoming the most valuable commodity, because if there is a face of the 2020s, it's this one. We're all hearing all of this messaging. We're all hearing all of these marketing terms being thrown around, and it's really hard to sift truth from fiction. And so there's that one quote that if we're arguing over the difference between misinformation and disinformation, we've already lost the argument. Um, and that's why I love the position that ceramic tile has in the world today. We're able to lead the charge of responsibility through embodiment, because there really is nothing to hide in a material that really tells our history as a species. In fact, almost everything we know about historical civilizations is from recovered archaeological shards of ceramic pottery. we can only carbon date things from recovered ceramic material. And some of the oldest ceramics that we have are from 2060 BC in this ancient Egyptian tomb, and down to 575 BC of the Ishtar Gate in ancient empire of Assyria. And today, these beautiful patinaed tones are what we're seeing in our modern tile. We can actually achieve the exact same looks that we had 3,000 and 4,000 years ago. And in 4,000 years of history, we've not found a better recipe to create ceramic material. Man-made stone is essentially what it is. And the term biomimicry is really taking inspiration from nature and then finding our own ways to utilize the same forces, the same powers that nature uses, and do things in a more rapid fashion. And what we're seeing in ceramics is exactly what we've done for centuries and millennia, is we're adding moldable clays, feldspatic clays, to feldspar, which is our liquefied mineral that fuses and sinters to all of that material. We're taking silicates and oxidized minerals to create our colors and our finishes on the surface and exposing them to immense amounts of heat and pressure like the world does in its crust, and creating our man-made stone and ceramic tile. So one of the pathways to transparency, there's a great public speaker, author, and podcaster by the name of Jocko Willink that has this sort of motto of extreme ownership. He was a Navy SEAL commander, and really the one thing that he preaches is never prevaricating, never ever making excuses, and just taking extreme ownership for your position. And that's something that ceramic tile is uniquely suited to do, because it has so many benefits. It's inert during its life. It's unaffected by the sun. It has generational impact and value for our consumers. And one of the only things that is ever a detractor from it is the high embodied energy. But there's all sorts of initiatives that are ongoing today with research groups like ITC from Spain, that are paving the way to 2050 and a carbon neutral path forward from 2050 and beyond. The European industry has life cycle, industry-wide life cycle analysis being done so that they can publish EPDs across the board for all of their manufacturers. And so there's so much that's building into what we can do in this industry. And so now what I want to talk about is the trends in our large format slabs and our 2 centimeter material that's going into outdoors. Because right now in 2023, our capabilities are better than they've ever been to provide those generational solutions and value for our clients in this material. So when we're thinking about having a product with a lifespan of at least 3/4 of a century, we really take a different view on trends. We generally think of trends like Pantone's Color of the Year as annual things that refresh every year and change every year. Things like the natural stone industry, the ceramic tile industry, we tend to take a much more gradual approach to trends and look for the through line that's going to translate to complementary tones for all of these flash in the pan trends, that has a generational or timeless approach. Because what we're looking for is solutions in architecture that offer symbiosis, not domination, that are going to work with all of the trends, that are going to work with everything that the world is going through when we're building our environment. And there's a lot of technology in the industry that's allowing us to do that and create some of the most breathtaking man-made stone that we've ever seen before. One of the ways that we do that, and probably the most important way that we do that, is by digital decoration. Now, we started being able to digitally decorate our ceramics in the year 2000. The first inkjet ceramic printer was debuted at Thevisama, the trade show in Spain, in the year 2000 by a company called CaratJet. In the 23 years following, we've gone so far beyond just being able to decorate in color. And that is true whether it's 2cm pavers or the large format, 3 meter by 1.5 meter slabs that we are doing for worktops and paneling and facades. So each of those red lines there are different bars within a digital printer that we have in our production line. So you can see in the year 2000, we only had 4 bars, and those were only 4 colors. As we moved a decade further, we started to realize we needed more colors at our disposal. We needed to be able to print the white veins in our dark marbles and things like that. So we added a white ink and we added a gray ink. Then in 2015, we started adding different effects because we realized color isn't the only thing that our eye reads. So in 2015, we could either print glossy or matte onto the surface as well. Fast forward to today, and just in the past couple of years now, we've expanded from 4 bars to 12 bars, and half of those are all effects. We can print glue, where we can add micronized frits and granias to add texture and gloss and sheen, and even opalescent effects. We can print metallics. We can actually print texture, either raised texture or in relief as well. And that brings us to why you have to touch, and cannot believe how realistic some of the materials that we're creating in ceramic, man-made stone are today. Because color space is 3-dimensional and it's really broad. We've never been able to manufacture the natural world in 3-dimensional color space before. You can see CMYK, when we're printing on our DeskJet printers, is the smallest, narrowest band of color space that we could ever do. And it never produced the same kind of realism. That's why we couldn't do it just in color in ceramics. As we get broader and we start to print different finishes, it allows us to encompass the entire 3-dimensional realm of color space. And this picture really shows it very well. We know the sun is yellow, we know the ocean is blue, sand is sandy color, and moss is green. But as you start zooming in and getting into the deep pixels there, you start to see how many colors are actually in those blues and greens. And that's why the natural world, that's what realism actually is. And I'm going to show you what that means in ceramics, because all of that is how light is reflecting from the surface. So now we know how we're going to get there. So let's look at some of the technology that's allowing us to do that in our slabs and our 2cm pavers, and how we're getting to those aesthetics. So the first thing I always try to describe when I'm talking about trends is that trends are an evolution, especially in something that's going to be in the buildings that we're creating for decades, if not centuries. What we do when we're trying to, as a designer, when we're trying to create something that aligns with a trend, is we have a goal in mind, and the technology gives us what our capabilities are. In this case, we're trying to light a room. As technology progresses, we do that more and more efficiently, and we're able to do that with broader capability and better efficiency. And today, where we're at in ceramics is like that high efficiency LED bulb, where we're doing it extremely efficiently and environmentally, and with the broadest spectrum available to our capabilities. So when we think about what's happened to us in our lives over the past couple of years, it's been one of the most impactful, game-changing times that any of us have ever lived through. And the trends have shifted dramatically over the past 4 years. And what we're seeing over the past 4 years is this change and amalgamation of trends. But as technology gets better and better, all of those trends are still relevant. So you can go back to TileSpainUSA.com and see all of my trend talks for the past 4 years. Each of these are still very, very relevant. And today, all the pictures that you're seeing today are going to have newer versions of each of these trends. And I'm going to talk about a few of the most important ones. Because as we got locked indoors for 6 months, a year, 2 years, depending on where we were around the world, biophilia and our relationship and connection to nature, we started to realize how important that was. And as tile moves outdoors and becomes a transitionary material, we start to see more and more ceramics being used because of the rise of our large format slabs for cladding and our 2cm products for paving material. And the glazes getting more and more sophisticated, being able to move from inside to outside. So we're utilizing more and more ceramics in our programs today. And biophilia has a really big connection to that. Now we start to see a lot of these sort of ghost effects where we've got a stone look or a cement look or a patinaed corten steel look, and we've got an overlay of a graphic that has flowers or anthropomorphic forms or vegetation, and it's adding different connotation for that living green stuff and nature to be invited into our spaces and then moving into the outside. Another way, and the biggest way that we see it, especially in our large format material and our exterior paving material, where we don't always have the actual graphics of nature, we're just using the textures, the colors, so that we have some relationship between the vegetation that we're using in our interior and exterior design, in our landscape design, and we have echoes of that within the color schemes of the programs that we're doing today. Now, this is a beautiful one that kind of mashes up a bunch of the trends that we're seeing in our large format material. It has the feel of the oxidization that we get in a Corten steel. It's a micro cement look in the overall, and then it's got all the colors and that biophilia that represents that living wall. So all of those rust tones, all of those greens are being recreated in each of the color tones within that collection. Moving on from biophilia, like the food that we put in our bodies, we want the materials that we surround ourselves with to have that organic feel. We don't want things that are overworked. We want things that actually speak to the materials that they truly are. We don't want to see a lot of human touch to them. We want things to have that natural relationship. We want to feel the soul of materials coming through. And it seems ironic to think about that when we're talking about something that we're making by hand in a man-made stone, and yet we've never had better capabilities to create raw organic feel in ceramic tile, because we don't have to necessarily. This tile here was actually a flat tile when it came out of the press. All of that organic, beautiful flame texture is being done digitally in our decoration process. We're using a Camaleonte sinking ink that drops down and carves into the surface of that tile. We're actually printing a glue and dropping a micronized frit on top to add volume as well. So we're creating that beautiful texture and structure in the surface of that tile. We're bringing clean contrast into our large formats, both for inside and outside. We had a beautiful session yesterday about 2CM product, where they were saying finally we're starting to see some of the lighter colors move into outside. And I can tell you, even in Vancouver, where the climate's fairly similar to here, I've got an exterior paver that's a very dark stone. And in the middle of the summer, it gets extremely hot. You can't even walk barefoot on it. So I love seeing some of this clean contrast and lighter colors move into our exterior specifications and our larger format slabs. The fact is, for clients today, authenticity is so far greater value than embellishment. We're looking for things that are really clean and really simple and really hearken to the natural materials that they are, but offering greater performance and livability for our clients. And that's the reason why we make different stones in ceramic, different woods in ceramic as well, where you can put this reliably outside in large format panels in 2 centimeter pavers. It never has to be refinished. It doesn't have to be sealed. You don't have to go through a lot of work, and it's infinitely livable. And those are the kind of solutions that we're providing. And as that understanding grows in our clients today, the acceptance and love and beauty of simple raw earth, the colors of terracotta, the colors of the earth that we are surrounded with coming into our ceramic programs. And we're starting to see ceramics not trying to be anything else, but simply just being the beautiful baked earth that they truly are. And that's coming into the fore a lot in things like breeze blocks as well. And we're providing adaptive solutions for architectural projects for those transitionary spaces from inside to outside, sometimes not even cladding walls, but creating them, providing structural solutions like the breeze blocks as well, and allowing for these transitionary spaces. That's so important for clients today, to accept the outside and bring the inside into the out as well, and optimize their livability. We're offering real world solutions that are super simple. I love this. This is an extruded manufacturer. It's a very simple idea. It's a 2 centimeter paver in a wood plank. Because of the extrusion process, we have those 3 dimensions to work with. And they've actually got integral drainage. So all you have to do is grade and slope the site, and drainage is incorporated within the body of this tile as well. So it's a beautiful solution for around pools, for tile or for exterior shower floors, and it's very simple. It's very efficient and very inexpensive because it's one of the oldest manufacturing processes we have. But what is really driving the rise in ceramic tile specifications in a big way is this idea and desire for seamless performance, for this seamless transition where we can open up a glass wall and there are no barriers between inside and outside. The only way to actually achieve that for a client is to have one surface going from inside to outside. And being able, with manufacturers that do offer 10 millimeter product that can be mortared inside, with 20 millimeter product that can be sand set, grass set, or pedestal set for outside, but all with the same glaze, all with the same format, so that that transition is seamless. And then our large format panels for our exterior cladding offers that holistic solution. And that's a holistic solution. That performance-based solution is really what's speaking to clients today, and it's driving a lot of preference for ceramics because of all of the capabilities at our disposal in terms of decoration. So if you have all of that performance and it's beautiful, it offers so much for clients today, because like even the feel of this stone, this is one of the most advanced kind of, they call it 4K or 4D, they call it, this manufacturer, because this natural stone, it actually has soft spots between the different mineral compositions in the veins, and that structure is in the natural stone. We can actually print that structure now digitally, so all of that texture is actually printed digitally on the surface of a flat tile. So we're creating graphic that's in register with structure and in multiple faces with all the realism and spontaneity of nature. I call ceramic tile the most contingency agnostic material that we can supply, because it doesn't matter what life, nature, or our clients are going to throw at this material. It will perform in just about every area, even in the most delicate materials that we could never do in the real material itself. In this case, we've got a Bernini white marble stone and the iconic Ceppo de Gray. Both of them are very susceptible to acids, don't perform well in a kitchen, and we can do that for a client in a high format backsplash, in our large format XL slab. We can transition the Ceppo de Gray from that giant monolith in that kitchen island into the exterior paving, so we have that seamless performance in exactly the look that our client wants, regardless of what kind of abuse and use they're going to put it to, with very little upkeep and care. In terms of what ceramics can do for the built environment and for solutions for our clients, it's really allowing us to shape the future and give our clients absolutely anything they want in the highest performance solution possible. So what I'm saying is, in the end, where we're at in design is looking for benevolence. We're optimizing for benevolence for our clients, for their lifestyle, and for their impact on the world and community around them. And ceramics are one of the ways to offer those solutions. And I hope I've given some food for thought. I really appreciate those of you that did sit down. So thank you very much.